Coming up tonight, so close yet so far. When will Singapore enter Phase 3?
SIA flying high. It's planning non-stop flights to New York from next month.
And in case you missed it, the story of a kind bus captain who goes the extra mile to help her passengers.
This is the Straits Times Newsnight. I'm Dylan Ang.
I'm Chao Suen. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. It's not time for Phase 3 yet, but it could happen by the end of the year. That's the message from the Multi-Ministry Task Force on COVID-19 earlier this evening.
So Singapore will have to wait a while longer for Phase 3. Education Minister Lawrence Wong emphasising that when this can be implemented would depend on all of us.
You can liken the current situation to one where a fire has just been put out, but there are still embers of the fire lying around. Each time we make further relaxation of any measures, we are simply adding wood to the fire. And you don't know when, but at some point in time, the more wood you add, the whole thing will combust yet again into a giant fire.
The task force said Phase 3 could see several changes, such as the increase in group size from 5 to 8 persons and more people at events. That said, they reminded people that once in place, it will be there for the long haul until the virus is controlled internationally.
Also announced today, more venues will require people to check in to safe entry using the Trace Together token or the app. Cinemas will be the first to roll out the new measure starting next Monday. So if you haven't collected your Trace Together token yet, you might want to do so very soon. To reach Phase 3, the task force will also pilot antigen rapid tests for larger scale activities such as trade shows and weddings. Pre-event testing requires event participants to be tested shortly before the event, either at the venue itself or at a separate testing facility.
For one sector, the light at the end of the tunnel remains elusive. Bars, nightclubs and karaoke bars are unlikely to be able to open even in Phase 3. That said, the authorities are prepared to consider a few limited pilots in these settings, subject to a more stringent set of measures.
We know these are higher risk settings. We've seen it in many other countries where large clusters break out in these sorts of settings. So even at the start of Phase 3, when we enter Phase 3, we do not expect to reopen these or resume these activities anytime soon.
But help will be available for businesses that continue to be affected. The task force said that government will put in place an assistance package to help nightlife operators and owners transit and pivot to new areas.
Meanwhile, the COVID-19 situation remains under control. 6 new cases reported today. They include 2 from the foreign worker dormitories and 4 imported cases. There were no new community cases in today's count.
We've all heard about the COVID-19 swab test, and let's face it, it does look quite uncomfortable.
Sure does, but this may soon change with a potential new development right here in Singapore, where diagnosing a patient could soon be as easy as breathing into a tube. A new breathalyser-type diagnostic test kit, still at a prototype stage, is being developed by Breathonix, a spin-off company from NUS. Promising results so far, with a reported 90% accuracy rate during a pilot trial involving 180 patients at the National Centre for Infectious Diseases. Science correspondent Audrey Tan explains how it works.
All you need to do is first you use a disposable mouthpiece and then you attach it to this machine, which is a high precision breath sampler. And your exhaled breath is collected and fed into a machine known as the mass spectrometer. And there will be some machine learning and an algorithm inside that processes the data and gives you the reading in less than a minute. So right now, the entire process of reading it's not yet automated, but researchers are working on it, so you can get the reading, as in you can interpret the readings really easily.
While the breath test shows promise, experts say more validation work needs to be done, and a PCR test will likely still be needed to confirm a positive result.
In a surprising move, given the state of global air travel, Singapore Airlines is launching new flights. From November 9th, it will add 3 weekly non-stop flights to New York's JFK Airport using its Airbus A350 long-range aircraft. The flights will transport both passengers and cargo. SIA said despite these challenging times, there are some early signs of optimism about a recovery in air travel. It's time to take a look at what's been trending on social media and sparking conversations today, making the impossible not just possible, but also more easily accessible. The plant-based beef product by US-based company Impossible Foods will be available at 79 FairPrice stores and from online grocer Red Mart starting this week. Sue Ann, as a non-meat eater, safe to say you must be pretty excited about this.
Very. I've been trying to order this online for ages, and when I saw the news this morning, I immediately got to work planning a barbecue. Pretty excited to be eating burgers again, I must say.
Yeah, well, it sounds like time for a team barbecue in the office. But of course, this product won't come cheap at $16.90 for a 340-gram pack. This meat is significantly more expensive than a lot of supermarket ground beef.
Space lovers, sit up. After almost 2 years circling an ancient asteroid, a NASA spacecraft is just days away from fulfilling its mission. The mission? Collecting asteroid samples and returning them to Earth, a feat accomplished only by Japan so far. This time, NASA is looking to bring back at least 60 grams of asteroid Bennu, located 330 million kilometers away.
How does this work, you may ask? Without getting to the details, a kind of reverse vacuum cleaner will do the trick using pressurized nitrogen to kick up small chunks of rock. Now, fun fact, Bennu is believed to measure approximately 510 meters, bigger than both the Empire State Building and the Eiffel Tower.
Over in the world of sports, this year's UEFA Champions League group stage kicks off today with 32 European teams competing for the title.
Unlike previous years, this edition will take on a condensed form with the group stage set to see 6 match days squeezed into a 50-day period. Expect to see teams like Barcelona, Manchester United, Paris Saint-Germain, Liverpool and Real Madrid in action the next 2 days.
In case you missed it, something to put a smile on your face today. In these challenging times, it is truly heartwarming to see good deeds being done in society. A Stomp user captured this video while waiting along Telok Blangah Heights, showing an SBS Transit bus driver sheltering alighting passengers from the rain. The kind lady has been identified as 72-year-old senior bus captain Ho Soo-hyung, who has been on the job for the past 45 years.
Amazing stuff. Hats off to you, ma'am. And that wraps up the Straits Times News Night. Do visit straitstimes.com to see more news and videos.
You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the button below. Have a great evening and we'll see you tomorrow.